Hello, this is Avery. It is December 2nd, 2019. I'm going to do a recap of my trades today. So to start out, I traded ASLN with very small size because the locate was absurd. At first it was like 30 cents a share, and then when it went down to like 14.5 cents a share, I located like 20% size. So to start out, in pre-market, I noticed it based around 650, so I was thinking maybe a break of 650 could be a great short, and then Alex put that in the watch list, so that gave me even more conviction for that idea. So coming into the open, it completely just like broke down all the way to like it was like the low was like 617. So I missed my fill originally on the first break of 650. So then when I popped back up, I shorted here at 644 with my stop a bit below VWAP. I just had a feeling that if it would get back up there, then it would probably squeeze out a lot of shorts. I didn't think it would go this much, but obviously that's what happened. So I took like a 26-cent loss or something on that, which is completely manageable. And then unfortunately, right after the halt, it halted for like 5 minutes. And what I was noticing is it doesn't show it on here, but because it only shows 7 a.m. and onwards, but over here like around 6 a.m. and really early in the morning, there was like an $8 line. So I was thinking that that might be a good place to short. And then also, since it, like from my understanding, it probably broke that level and a ton of people shorted there, and then I just had a massive squeeze. So my thinking was, okay, if I can get a short off around when the halt, or around when it unhalts, then maximum I get squeezed to maybe like 830 or 840. So I'd be willing to take that risk. So when it unhalted, I tried to slam the bids first at, I think it was like 790. I missed my fill. Then I tried to do like 780, and I missed my fill again. So I was like, okay, like, fuck, like I'm probably not going to get a fill. So, and then I just stopped trying. And then just completely washed at another halt. And then on this bounce back here, I took a small short with like, took a short rate there at, what's that? Took a short at 678, risking this high here or a couple pennies over. I think I risked like 90 something. So I actually got stopped out, and I guess luckily for me, I didn't get slippage. It like went up and then came down, and then that's when it covered me. So I just triggered the stop, and then I got filled. It's another manageable loss. And then right here, after it kind of, then it had this crack, and then it perked. So then I shorted right at 669, which I got like, I think the best price I could have on this little bounce here. So that's nice. And then I just put a range order out with like a stop over, I think it was like 705 at my stop. And then I had a cover order in at 630, so I got filled dead bottom there at that little bounce. I was pumped about that. Then it bounced back up. So at this point, it just set like a low here, and then it set a higher low there, and just set another higher low right here. So like 2 or 3 higher lows, depending on how you look at it. Except that then there was a big wall of sellers around 650, and I was kind of unable to perk above that for like 6 or 7 minutes. So then I took a small short at 649, and I really didn't want to get caught in a squeeze here because it was already like pretty much break even on the day, so I didn't really want to end the day down. So I just had a really tight stop, and then I got stopped out, which is fine. And then it turns out that it ended up doing exactly what I wanted to, but I don't really regret that second trade because I had a tight stop, and that was my plan going into it. I wasn't willing to lose more than like 10 cents a share, so that's what I deserve. And as far as this $8 level, one thing that Bao mentioned in his daily recap is it actually turns out there was an $8 daily resistance level. So if I knew I didn't know that at the time, I was just playing it off of the pre-market levels. So looking back, like if I would have known that there was an $8 daily resistance level, it might have been good to like chase it a bit. But hindsight bias, right? Next one was AKTX. So this one I saw in pre-market, and it was a death line short. Or my first one wasn't a death line short, it was just a pre-market short. Let me see if we can get VWAP on here. So I was just looking to see, after this hard crack, it kind of dipped below VWAP, and then I just shorted just to see if it would be a pop and then fail. And it just cut, so I just cut it immediately. what I'm doing with my pre-market trades now is if they don't work immediately or just go against me more than like 5 or 10 cents, I just immediately cut it. So I shorted at 282 and I covered it 287, so all 5 cents a share, which is completely fine. And then what I was looking at is this death line here. I was looking at this low of 268. There's some support down here, except the way I figure is if it can break that low after topping out up here, it's probably just going to continue downward. So you could call this an anticipation death line short, but what actually happened was at around here there was just kind of like a wall of buyers around like 272, 273, and then when it kind of downticked here, then there was a lot of buyers at like 271, and then I was watching on the tape, and like the sides were just getting eaten. Like people were just selling. So then when I saw the 270 go from like, I can't remember the exact size that it was, but it was pretty big. And then I think it was a couple thousand shares released. So then when it got just eaten through, then there was still like a buyer with the same buyer. I think it was, can't remember which market maker it was, but anyway, I saw them only have like a tiny bit of size left after just getting destroyed. So I just smacked the bids and then got in at 270. And I had a cover order in at 253. I was thinking that this line down here around 245 would hold for a bit at least. So then I just put a 253 just because I wanted to get filled. Didn't get down there. I got to a low of 257. The unfortunate thing with this is my bias kind of got a bit screwed up because I was talking to someone at MIC and they thought it was going to spike. So my original plan was I only shorted half size here at 270. And my original plan was to short half size and then risk on the 5-minute candle, it was 279 was the high. So I was risking off of 279, and my plan was to like reshort if it got up to like if it got back up to like 270, or preferably towards that 279, like if it perked through a little bit and slammed back down. And then unfortunately, since my bias got fucked up, I should have re-added my shares here. I mean, sorry, not re-added, but I should have went full size here because this is doing exactly what I wanted. It broke the death line, and then it popped, and then it was unable to hold really above this 270 level. Like there's some top wicks. Like if you look at the bodies, it was never able to hold above 270. Like this one, like the body of the candle got rate to 270, but then it just sold off. So that's a really good sign. I was unable to test VWAP again. So that's a problem that I'm having. I'll talk about how I'm going to fix that at the end of this video. And for these, I moved my order down to 243. And that was just, again, there's a lot of support down here, and I just wanted to get out. And 270 to 243 would be a great win, whatever that is. It's like 27 cents a share. And unfortunately, what happened is right at this first minute at 9:31, it went down. Or sorry, on this minute it went down to like 240s. Except I didn't get filled, so it was like crap. And then on the tape, if you were watching, like it kind of like went down and then perked back up quickly. And what happened was I just got scared out and I covered. I was like, oh fuck, like maybe I was figuring it was gonna bounce up to like this 270 level. So I was like, oh shit, like I'd rather cover at 255. And then immediately reshort at like 265 or 270, just so I have a little bit of padding instead of like holding to that, because I didn't take any pieces off, right? Because I was only half size. And unfortunately, that just ended up being like pretty much top tick, that little bounce there. And I didn't bother. I was looking for a rebound back up to like the 250 level. After this wash, I was wanting like 250s to reshort. Never got it, so that's fine. And now I'm just going to go over a couple trades that I missed fills on, but I want to kind of just recap them anyway. So ORMP, this stock has been running for multiple days on like really low volume. And if you can look here, each day, like aside, not even caring about the volume, but each day it's gapping up slightly, but not significantly. And then on this day, right, like it gapped up from like 440 all the way up to, like it was gapping big pre-market, it was up in the 5s and stuff, so I was like, shit, like this is probably going to be a blow off top, right? And unfortunately, I was really wanting to short it right, where was that? Doesn't show it in pre-market action here, but right before 7 a.m., I actually just pulled this up on another So right here, if you look, it was at like 658 or something. 658, 655. I was like frothing at the mouth just to short it, except I couldn't. And then by the time 7 a.m. came around, it like was all the way down in like the 550s. So I was like, okay, obviously that's not going to happen. And after it set this low here at 520, my original plan was to short. I wouldn't consider it a death line, but my original plan was to short it and just for a quick scalp. And I knew that there was this $5 level there from the previous 5 days, so I figured I was going to support. But my plan was just if it can break 520, and we'll probably set some panic selling in. But then unfortunately my bias got fucked up again because I saw Bear in chat and he said that he's like, oh, 520 is not the death line, there's not enough meat on it or something. So I was like, oh shit. So I took my eye off it, and of course I did exactly what I wanted to do, and it would have fit into my pre-market trading plan ideally with it not going to like cutting it if it goes against me at all. Because I would have been shorting around like 520, 515, and it literally would have never went against me, and it would have offered at least like, if I timed it perfectly, like 30 cents or something. If I fucked it up, I can only do 15 cents. That's a bit annoying. And then the last one is EDFM. So this one, again, I wouldn't really say it's like an ideal death line setup, except I've been tracking some of these things in pre-market, and if it can break a significant support, it normally can have a bit of a wash. So here, it's pretty low volume up here, except my plan was if it can break this 780 level, it can probably get a bit of a wash. And I had my order in at, I think it was 776 or 778, but I missed my fill and I wasn't going to chase it. And then it never offered any pops out of the open. I was hoping to get it around like 760s, but never got there. So that's fine. And the last thing that I want to go over is just some of the rules that I made for December. So I set up some new risk tiers. So death line, death candle, and shortened to daily resistance levels. Those are going to warrant full size. I'll probably short half in anticipation and then short once it's confirmed. Like for the death candle, that'll mean short at the first break, and then once the 5-minute candle closes below the death line, then I'll add my full size. Death candle, again, probably as soon as if it has a big wash, then I'll short the bounce, and then I'll either, if it fails and breaks the previous low, then I'll add full size, or if it kind of just gets really wicky and tops out, then I'll add full size. And then short to daily resistance, what I'll probably do there is say if the daily resistance is at $5, then I'll short half size at 590, and then if it goes to 5 and or whatever and kind of fails and has a bit of a rejection, then I'll add full size on a pop. And then a couple other ones like heavy selling it open. This is kind of just what FFHL did and stuff. I'm not going to go over that too much, but basically it's when a stock is kind of on the backside already after breaking some pre-market support, and then at the open, then it just can't push. You see it trying to, and you see a lot of volume going through, but it just can't push at all. So then I've noticed that that's a good opportunity just to get a 15-cent scalp at least. And then just scalps in general, if I see top in action or a significant inner line, sometimes if an inner line is held a couple times and there's a decent amount of range that it has to get to or go to get that inner line, then sometimes that can warrant a scalp. And then a discretionary one that's just something that doesn't fit into an exact pattern. Last week, I had a really good trade on KZIA. It bounced to VWAP and was hovering right below VWAP at $9, and there was a hidden seller. So I shorted there, and then I covered for a 90-cent gain. So that's kind of what that fits in. And then time frames, I know it's common practice to say that it's probably safer just not to short pre-market, but I have tracked some good strategies, primarily just tracking death line and death candles and stuff like that, and breaking of significant major pre-market support, the pre-market lows and stuff like that on a runner. If it has a big gap up, say 50% gap up, and it never really trades, it's not a ramp, it's just a big gap up. And if it breaks pre-market lows, oftentimes it'll have a bit of a wash. So stuff like that. And one thing that I've done though is I was going over through my pre-market trades, and one thing that I figured out was all of my winning trades, except for one, either only went against me 5 or 10 cents and then worked, or never even went against me in the first place. So my new rule is if it goes against me more than 5 cents, I'm just going to cut it immediately and then retry. And then 9:15 onward in pre-market, I don't really like because it's so close to the open, and I'm not a huge fan of taking a position from pre-market into the open because it's kind of like a bit unpredictable in my opinion. And then I'm just going to trade half size at max if I'm trading before 9:45. 9:45 to 10:30 is kind of my ideal time looking at my trades. And then after 10:30, I literally just shut down my montage and stuff like that. And then lately I've been playing around with some death candles in the afternoon and overextended trend breaks. So I'm still looking for those. And then like around 3:30 in my opinion, sometimes 3, but normally 3:30 and onward, there's often kind of spikes at the end of the day on these stocks that have been like really just sold off all day. Sometimes, very rarely, you'll see like just an end of day wash, but I feel like that's a lot more rare than just seeing it perk at the end of the day. So those are kind of my, and then a couple other things. I'm going to do a daily end of day video journal like this every day in December, assuming that I trade and or have something to kind of recap, like even if I just miss some fills, but it was a good idea, then I'll do a daily recap, and I'm going to log all my trades and trader view. And another thing is I'm going to close Slack from 9:15 to 10:30. So basically today I got my bias really fucked up from just talking to a couple people, and that's a big problem. And it's cost me a lot of opportunity cost in the past, and it was really, really obvious today. So from now on, I'm going to like look and see what Alex posts in his watch list, maybe talk to a couple people, but as soon as I'm in a trade, Slack goes off. And in some ways, I might miss like news on a stock or something, except price action is going to tell me that news, right? So I'll be able to tell it on my scanner, or if I'm short a stock and it starts spiking, then I'm obviously just going to get out. So price action will be able to lead me there. And that's it for today. Thanks.